Hi, everyone. Before you keep watching, please take into consideration some of these materials are a little sensitive, and I'm not a professional. So if you want professional help, go seek for it and be careful. Some of these subjects can be sensitive. Thank you and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Dare to Think. I was thinking about the things that have happened to me in my life. I've recently started going to therapy. I've always wanted to, and I never got around to do it. And now that I've started, one of the main things that you do when you're in therapy is that you talk about your life and you start looking at your life through very different perspectives. And I didn't think that this perspective would be so powerful. Okay? Creo que de las cosas más interesantes que yo he llegado a ver en mi vida es cuando personajes que suelen ser absolutamente positivos, o sea, they follow the archetype of the good guy, the good character, the Narutos and Ostas of the world, for anyone who's watched either Naruto or Demon Slayer, any other anime. The main characters, especially, for example, in Seven Deadly Sins, you see characters that are happy, who engender the values of a person who is being heroic. One of the best things about each of these series is that at some point, these characters acknowledge and recognize their agony. Batman era huérfano. Y it's always a trope, that most superheroes, people who are, have this talent, etc., like artists who are troubled, they've had bad things happen to them. And we're going to see Edgar Allan Poe at some point has led one of the most tragic lives ever. And you see this theme followed through with many, many artists, heroes, and normal people who live their lives, people who haven't smoked a cigarette a day in their lives and then drop dead of cancer, lung cancer at like 56. These things happen, and they happen every day. Why am I talking about this? And why therapy? If you look at your life and you recognize the agony you've been through, there's a sort of superpower that you get. And it's twofold. Last episode I talked about, remembering you've been happy. You should also remember in general. And one of the things that you need when you're remembering and you're having a bad moment is, proof. Proof that you are the person who you say you are. There's something incredibly satisfying about understanding that you've lived through something difficult. O sea, en el momento en el que tú dices, ya yo pasé por tanta mierda, no voy a poder vivir por esto. And it's something that, especially, for example, it happens to me a lot living in Spain. It's like, muchos venezolanos tenemos ese sentimiento, like, are you gonna rob me? Like, I'm a Venezuelan. Like, I lived in Venezuela for 18 years, and I was never robbed. And now you are gonna rob me here in a first world country? And it's that feeling of, I've lived through way too much for this to happen to me. There's also something else that happens about recognizing your agony, and it's pain. We are people who survive through things in life, who live through things. Life, you could see it as time, and a lot of people consider time to be like water, a fluid that you walk through. We're walking through time, all of us, at every single moment. And I find it very difficult, but we don't realize how much of it we ignore, how much of that agony you simply put in the back of your closet, in a box under your bed, and you don't look at it again. One of the worst things that has ever happened to me, and this is going to sound like something normal that happens to a lot of people, was bullying. I got bullied a lot for a very long time. And it made me very insecure, and it's shaped who I am as a person today. But I can also say the same thing about my mom having cancer. Or I can say that about my parents getting divorced. I can say it about my sister going to live in Germany, which is something I'm very happy about today, but that cost me a lot of pain at the moment. Or my first heartbreak. Or, even just the last fight I ever had with my girlfriend. All of those things create and cause agony in your life. But since we think it's ugly, since we don't want to look at it, since it feels bad to recognize the bad in our lives, since we live in a time where tenemos que estar super bellos para el domingo de Instagram y tenemos que tener esta, clean photographed life, we forget about the agony. Recognizing how bad things were or how bad things are at a certain moment allows you to actually see it. La única persona que se miente a sí mismo eres tú. Even if you think that the people who are looking at you on Instagram or the people who work with you or the people who study with you don't see that you're going through something. All of us are. Every single moment of our lives, we're going through something. Recognizing that bad feeling is what helps you to cure it. Mi papá siempre dice, las personas que sienten, dicen, coño, me duele aquí, capaz tengo una hernia, pero mejor no voy al médico porque después me encuentran algo. You might already have it. Having the bravery to look at your agony in the face and doing something about it is the reason why those animes are great, or those series are great, or those movies are great. Because when you see people looking dead at the bad things in their life in the face and saying, maybe I don't know how to fix this right now, but I feel like this. It's usually, if any of you watch a lot of movies, it's usually that moment where you feel the most sympathy towards your characters, where you feel like the characters are with you, that you are like them. Why don't we do it to ourselves? Why don't we allow ourselves to feel that humanity? I like the people who can sit down in their bed and revel in the pain that they have. I think that it was a story about Ernest Hemingway. He got seriously injured at some point in his life and he was at the hospital. And they asked him if he wanted anesthesia. And he said no, because the pain that I'm in right now is a reminder of how much I had to do to get here. I don't think agony is going anywhere in anybody's life. And I don't wish agony upon anyone. But putting it under your bed, away, somewhere you can't see it, es como esconder la piedra, es como tirar la mano y esconder la piedra. It just doesn't work. I invite you to open that door towards your life. I invite you to open that door towards your agony, and it's not easy, and you should do it with help. If you need a psychologist or a therapist or somebody to help you, a friend, that's always better than nothing. I dare you to think of a different way of dealing with your problems than going out to a party, smoking, drinking, and just posting it on Instagram thinking that you're the coolest person on earth. If you are going through something and you need something and you need someone, I'm sure there's somebody in your life who cares. And if they don't, you do. And you've lived through worse things. And if you haven't, you will. There's always something there. Dare to think, guys. Just think about it. I'll see you again next week. And remember, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcast from. Thank you.